What's up, everybody? This is Jeremiah, and today we're gonna react to the video, "The Female Teacher Crisis Nobody is Talking About by Lungs of Faith." Now, this is the first time I've ever watched this video, and I've watched this video before, and it's pretty good. Shouts to you, man. Shouts to you. Now, in this video, we're talking about, about to react to. This has been, I don't know, I haven't been hearing it a lot lately, but I've not been in the news that much. But like back in like 2020, like 2, 3, 4-ish, there's been a lot of female PDFs out there, and they just get slapped in the wrist. And like I'm seeing the comments about them, it's like, oh, why is this one teaching? First off, you're a weirdo. Number one, you're legit a weirdo, and two, that's traumatizing. That's legit traumatizing for kids. Like, what's up with you? And but if it was a dude that's doing that, you'll be freaking locked up for life. But if female does the same thing, ask the guy. It's like, really? But we're gonna get into it. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's react to the video.
Tonight, shocking allegations against another
What's
teacher.
at the video, people? What's at the video?
Teacher accused of abusing a student has given birth to a baby fathered by her young victim.
If you're a man, doesn't it feel like society constantly villainizes you while women get away with anything? The data proves you right. Female offenders are exploding at an alarming rate, and yet nobody is talking about why. That's why today we're exploring why this is happening, what led up to this crisis, and the truth about female teachers that nobody wants to talk about. The truth is, while men get maximum sentences for the same crimes, women are often let off on probation claiming victimhood, misogyny, and even romance.
Romance for having sexual relations with a minor? That's no. And it's such a double standard, because like when dudes do it, yes, you get freaking locked up for life, and that's justifiable because you're a freaking PDF. But if women does the same thing, and it acts even in a more egregious way than dudes, it's get a 1 to 2 to 3 year jail sentence. Like, you let that guy up, you locked him up for life for, yes, for a reasonable thing that he has committed. But the woman that's the same thing that the dude committed, and she gets a slap on the wrist. It's unfair. That's not justice. Being that's just yo, bro. You're I know you have to be merciful, but that's no. It's really unacceptable. Alleged dirty teacher, I don't care about that name. Guys, she's a victim. No. And you want to play the victim card, saying that, oh, it's because of misogyny. Oh, the page. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. You did what you did, and you have to take accountability for that. Give them, yeah, you guys want equal rights, you're gonna get equal lefts as well. You guys want equal rights, you're gonna have the same sentences as men who do heinous crimes. I don't care if you're man or woman. If you do heinous crimes, you pay the punishment for it. You pay the punishment. You pay the time. If you can't do the crime, don't. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime then. Like, it's insane.
I'm not a predator. I'm not a sex offender.
You are. You legit are. You really are. No, crocodile tears ain't work. I'm from the Bronx. We know they don't work on us. They don't work. You went out. No, it doesn't work that way.
I'm not a threat or a danger to anyone.
Yet more and more young female teachers are throwing their lives away for illegal thrills, and the reason is way worse than you think. Because one thing is clear, this is a crisis, and the data shows that if something doesn't change, we might never recover. This is why. Listen, I'll say the quiet part out loud that nobody wants to say. Society loves female predators, and that's why women can go to school in body contour dresses to be in front of a bunch of middle and high school students. It's why female teachers who groom and sleep with underage boys simply get called an affair by the media and forgotten about the next day. It's why most of the time they get a slap on the wrist.
2 years probation, $700 fine, 10 years 6. Oh my. What? What? Do my eyes deceive me? Nah, dog. gosh.
compared to the same crimes committed by men, why the internet labels young male victims as lucky, and why US courts even ordered the underage victims to pay child support to their predators who got pregnant. And I'll get to all of this in a bit, but let's hit the hard facts first, because this isn't a fringe conspiracy. It's a documented epidemic eroding our society, and the consequences are astronomical. US Department of Education data shows sexual violence reports in K-12 jumped 55% from just under 10,000 in 2015 to 2016 to 15,000 in 2017 to 2018, with assault and attempted assault up a staggering 99%.
What?
Fast forward to 2022, 350 educators arrested for assaults against their students, a sharp rise from pre-pandemic levels. And here's the twist nobody talks about. Females now make up almost half of those predators, a massive surge from under 10%.
That's close. That is very, very close. That's too close.
Historically. But people are asking, is it really because there's more female predators, or are more men simply coming forward? The answer is more complicated than you might think.
The years of sexual abuse he says he suffered at the hands of a teacher.
Just because I'm a man doesn't mean that it should be shunned away, because
Yeah, it
I was
shouldn't
a
be shunned
child.
away.
I wasn't a man. I was a boy.
And unfortunately, it is shunned away. A recent Psychiatric Times
So
article
it's mainly shunned away because when it's when it's the dude getting sexual assaulted or being raped, it's like under the rug, or people say, yeah, he's lucky. But it's like when it's a woman doing it, when a woman happens to a woman, headlines on news articles saying it's like it's all over the news. When it happens to a guy, it's just pushed under the rug. It's just on the shelf, collecting dust. It's not right. It's not right.
shines light on the phenomenon, citing that women account for fewer than 10% of all arrests made for sexual offenses. It's strongly suspected that this figure represents an underestimate of the actual numbers of crimes that occur. For example, 60 to 80% of men who faced this type of abuse during their childhood identified a female perpetrator. Female abusers typically have a history of substance abuse, and they often commit the crimes in their 20s and 30s. In America, an average of 1 in 10 kids faces educator sexual misconduct. That's over 4.5 million US students. But underreporting is rampant. Only 10% of victims come forward thanks to shame, threats, or just disbelief, especially when the perp is a quote-unquote nurturing woman. So what is driving this? Let's pull back the curtain on some of these cases and see if we can notice patterns. I've dug into 2020 to 2026 cases focusing on female surges and uncovered a lot of evidence. Case number 1 is Naomi Takea Craig, a 33-year-old married music teacher in Mandurah, Australia. From August 2024 to December 2025, she assaulted her 12-year-old student at Frederick Irwin Anglican School in multiple locations, and she even made illegal videos of the act. The shocker here is that she gave birth on January 8th, 2026 to the boy's baby, and DNA confirmed it. Her husband thought the child was his the whole time. Meanwhile, the boy's friends noticed how he shifted from talking about sport to more sensitive personal topics. She pleaded guilty to 15 charges in January of 2026, with sentencing set for March 27th of this year. To date, there's still no jail time, and media frames it as an illegitimate offense.
Oh my gosh. This 33-year-old woman had relations with a legit 12-year-old. Had a kid with him. And now there's no jail time for this woman? Nah, bro. Nah, fam. And I bet you someone in the comments is like, oh, where was he up with teachers when I was a kid? Man, shut up. You're a freaking weirdo. Bet you're a Reddit moderator, a Discord moderator.
Affair or relationship. Just imagine if the roles reversed and a 33-year-old
If I'll get you lungs of faith. I got you. If the roles were reversed, he will be crucified on national levels, life in prison, ostracised from society. Everybody would keep a eyes full of this dude. If it was the guy doing this, maximum sentence, man. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets off in prison. No joke. I wouldn't be surprised. But this is a woman doing it. Slap on the wrist. No jail time. Have, 2 years probation, cleaning up garbage, stuff like that. No. Prison. Life in prison.
Male teacher had done the exact same thing. Well, we don't have to guess. Joshua Wiebe in Groesbeck, Texas at 33, the same age as Naomi, did this exact crime but reversed. He was sentenced April 2025 to life without parole plus 100 years on top of that. And rightfully so. But I'm betting if Naomi gets any time at all, it'll be nothing compared to this. Case number 2 is McKenna Kindred, a teacher at Central Valley High School in Washington back in 2022. She got inappropriate with a 17-year-old boy, started with private messages, and then escalated to a quote-unquote marathon session at her home while
Single teacher sentenced doing nauseating text before they had depraved hours of long. Oh my gosh! Wow.
Her husband was away.
Just
She
last
pleaded
2 months
guilty in
ago?
March 2024. 2 years of probation, a fine, an S-offender registry, but no prison time at all. She surrendered her license, stayed married, and moved to Idaho like nothing ever happened.
Hold the fuck up! Nah. Lock her up. Lock her out. Lock her butt up. No joke. No. This is insane. I'm tired of the fact that this double standard thing for women. It's no. It cannot happen. It cannot happen. Y'all fight for equal rights, but yet you don't want to you don't want to suffer the consequences of those equal rights that men be having going through. Nah, man, no. Just because you're a hot female teacher doesn't mean you get to bypass the law. No, that makes zero sense. You did the crime, you gotta do that time. If you don't want to do that time, you shouldn't do the crime. No joke. I'm gonna say it again. If you committed the crime, you're gonna do that time. And if you can't do that time, then you should have done the crime then. This is ridiculous. Again, if a man would have done this, life in prison. How many years in prison? 50 years in prison, 70 years in prison. A life in prison, 240 something years in prison. But yet it's a woman, slap on the wrist. The double standard is so crazy how. I think I watched a video on like the sins of that women commit that are swept on the rug, because like everybody talks about men's sins. Porn, lust, anything that the men commits, like the sinful things of men, like men, like me. And then when we talk about the sins of women, it's like pushed under the rug. It's like no one talks about that. Like women sin too. I'm not gonna. It's not gonna whole man versus woman thing. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not trying to get that thing. I'm not trying to get that like picture out there. But it's like we're all equal, right? So suffer the consequences. You have to suffer the consequences. If you did this, you have to do that time. Men and women, you have to do that amount of time. And you're getting slaps, and women getting slaps on the wrist is like slap in the face in the justice system, because like she did the thing, but yet you're giving a slap on the wrist for that. Why? Why is that though? It boggles my mind how it's just pushed under the rug, and we see it in time right now.
Understand the gravity of my actions and the harm they have caused.
And you put in crocodile tears coming out. Crocodile tears coming out.
This past year has been incredibly difficult for all involved. As a result of my actions, I've lost my career, valuable friendships, freedoms, and have let down countless people who have placed their trust in me.
This is a perfect example of how in America you can be the worst of predators, but if you're a pretty woman and do a bit of fake crying, you can escape 100% of your jail time, move to another state, and live your life basically unaffected. But when you look at comparable cases of the exact same crimes just committed by men, at least 4 to 10 years of prison and a minimum of 10 years probation. If women want equal rights, then why doesn't the state enforce equal justice?
Why doesn't the law state equal justice for women? So
raging double standard becomes even more apparent when Matt Murphy, a former prosecutor, commented on this case and predators in 2024.
I can tell you from personal experience in dealing with these cases over and over again as a prosecutor, sex offenders, especially sexual predators, do not get better. All the therapy in the world does not help them.
Okay, so male predators can never change and they all need to be held accountable. Fair, I think we can all agree. But in the same breath, he says this.
Now, this situation may be a little bit different because of the circumstances. This woman, I can't imagine her marriage.
Repeat what he just said. I'm going back. Let's rewind that.
Be a little bit different because of the circumstances.
I'm sorry, let me go rewind that again.
Same breath, he says this.
Now, this situation may be a little bit different because of the circumstances. This woman, I can't imagine her marriage was exactly great.
Stop lying. Stop lying. No. No. That's not an excuse. That's a lame excuse. I'm tired of people saying, if a woman does a crime, oh, maybe her marriage is. No! It's not the marriage. It's her. She's the problem. She is legit the problem, but yet no one bats an eye because she's a pretty woman and she's a damsel in distress and she couldn't do anything, but she did the freaking crime. She talked to a minor. She had sexual relationships with a freaking minor. Am I gonna see what just happened right now? I'm gonna bend the rules. No. Don't do that. It makes you look bad. It really does make you look bad right there.
She is an actual sexual predator or not.
Nah,
this
stop.
is, a
Stop.
one-off.
Stop.
Is open for debate.
Just look at how the tone shifts as soon as it's about a woman. All of a sudden, it's her circumstances and her bad marriage.
See, they want to circumstances, bad marriage. Oh, she feels emotional. She's not having enough tension from her husband. Stop with the BS. Stop with the BS. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. I'm tired of it. No. It's not an excuse. That's a lame excuse. No excuses, man. No excuses. Did the crime. For what reason? I have no idea. But you're giving excuses for her crime. No. Don't do that. Don't do that.
It might even be her husband's fault somehow. Male simps are what keep this alive, and it becomes even more apparent when the husband came out to her defense. Quote, "As McKenna's husband, it has been a challenging year full of uncertainty. However, McKenna's remorse for her actions is the one thing that is certain. Where most would give up under pressure and guilt, McKenna has channeled that remorse into facing her mistakes, actively seeking the help she needs, and regularly working to rise above it all. This has become apparent to me through our continued professional counseling as we work through and address the underlying issues that contributed to the situation. We are both determined to emerge from this experience as stronger and more resilient spouses and members."
God forbid, God forbid, God forbid, God forbid. May this love never find me, number one, and God forbid. If someone that I know is in this type of situation, divorce the woman. I'm serious, divorce her. This is an absolute reasonable thing to do. Because she cheated on you with the freaking minor. Divorce the woman, forgive her, and you forgive her first. Then divorce her. And then go about your day. Because that's a reasonable thing. He cheated on you with a legit minor. What the fudge are you still with her for? Forgive her, divorce her, go about your merry way. But yet, simps like him, I cannot, man.
Of society. And then he goes on to compile a florilegia about how amazing his wife actually is. Now let's bring in one of the most sickening cases, Christina Formella, a 30-year-old former special education teacher and soccer coach at Downers Grove South High School at Illinois. She groomed a 15-year-old male student starting when she was just engaging in over 50 acts.
What?
She groomed a 15-year-old male student starting when she was just engaging in over 50 acts from January 2023 to August or September of 2024, including more than 45 times right in the classroom and multiple times at her home. The boy's mother discovered explicit texts like, "I love having S with you," in March of 2025, which led to her arrest during a traffic stop. Now, what's even more disturbing is that Formella allegedly used her authority as a tutor and a coach for what she called quote-unquote mentoring sessions that quickly turned sexual, fitting the boundary blurring pattern that we see in almost all of the female cases. Prosecutors claim she planned to defraud her husband's family for millions and flee the country with the teen, highlighting those quote-unquote forbidden thrill psychological motives that drive so many of these women, and you'll see why in a bit. She was denied pretrial detention twice and was released practically scot-free with light conditions. No school entry, no contact. She resigned and surrendered her license, but no jail yet. Her family even came out claiming quote misogyny and gender persecution in July of 2025, downplaying this incident as a simple affair. Now there's dozens and dozens and dozens more of these cases that have been coming out over the past few months, but these cases all connect on key patterns. On the surface, they are all seemingly normal and unsuspecting young women with no past criminal records using their authority for control and often getting lenient outcomes like probation compared to male severe jail time. And we'll get to that, but the fact is these videos take weeks to produce each, and I'm currently a one-man team, but luckily the supporters over at buymeacoffee.com/lungs-of-faith help make these videos. Sentencing is well documented with real input on future topics. The gender bias in sentencing is well documented. Females often receive lighter penalties due to stereotypes portraying them as quote less threatening or stressed out, while males face harsher jail terms for similar offenses. In 2020 to 2026 cases, females convicted of student assault got probation or short sentences in 60 to 80% of high-profile instances, versus males averaging 2 to 20 years. It says that the mean sentencing length for offenders was significantly different for males male educators than for female educators, with male educators receiving almost 5 times the length of sentence that female educators did. A 2021 study found that females are 2 to 3 times less likely to receive incarceration, influenced by victim age and gender, compared to men. In a 2020 U.S. analysis of 20 different cases,
The 1991 Matthews and Spence teacher/lover tripology is the foundation of the that the 2020 study and others is referencing. It's originally described women who assert that they are educating their victims about as a part of their consensual relationship. They often claim that their behavior does not. Ew.
many female perpetrators asserted, quote, genuine romantic and emotional relationships, or, quote, consensual connections as a defense, categorizing them as, quote, teacher/lover types who claim it's not abuse but education about sex. A 2018 UK study noted females often rationalize as love in court, leading to lenient outcomes. Similarly, Vandiver and Kircher's 2004 study on registered female sexual offenders identifies the heterosexual nurture type, where women develop sexual relations with children and adolescents on the basis of feeling love or a desire for intimacy. These women also often mistakenly assert that their behavior is not abusive. Now, this line of reasoning is surprisingly a big factor of women's reduced sentences, but it typically isn't enough. The most popular reason is the same in almost all cases, with female perpetrators' attorneys citing, quote, mental illnesses in an attempt to plead insanity. For example, in 2004, Deborah LaFave, a 23-year-old teacher, was arrested for having sex with a 15-year-old male student. Her attorney, on the basis of his client's history of extremes of mood and other symptoms of bipolar illnesses, prepared an insanity defense. He stated, quote, here we have a woman that by every societal standard can get a date, can get a man, yet she destroyed her career, destroyed her marriage. I believe the only logical reason why Deborah LaFave did what she did was because of her mental illness. The truth is, however, that currently there's little empirical evidence related to the presence of mental illness in female sexual offenders overall. So what's actually causing this and why?
What's up, everybody? Enjoying the video? That's great. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications to know when I upload another video. Also, tune into the live streams. Live on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. So tune into whichever one that seems best for you. Also, join the Discord. Link in the description down below. And 98% of you guys are watching the videos. You guys be watching the videos so much, hit the subscribe button. It's free. Without further ado, let's get back into the video.
Well, this is where all of this starts to make more sense when we look at the obvious influences in social engineering that have been taking place over the last century.
Yep. You see a 30-plus-year-old woman, 40-plus-year-old woman dating like a 20-plus-year-old guy. You see that a lot on Netflix, Hulu, HBO, Prime, Stars, ABC, 123, Do-Re-Mi. Yeah, you see a lot on media. You see it a lot. And this has to stop. No, you really just have to stop. Because that's not a normal relationship. It's not a normal relationship. You're legitimately dating a student. And I bet you it's so uncomfortable for them to act it out.
Women crave romantic love. This is no secret, and it's generally normal.
Like, this is kind of similar to when this is also similar to like the cheater love, basically. Like the girl, like a girl has like a fiance or like a boyfriend, and like the other guy and like another person likes her, and then it's just similar to like The Office, like Pam, Jim, and Ryan. If you know that relationship, it's basically similar to that. The Office is a great show, but that relationship is kind of shaky because even though Jim still liked Pam, even though he was with Karen, I think, like they kissed and like he still likes her, and then like Pam like started rejected it, and then Ryan figured it out. And then they got together. It's like it's oofy. It's a doozy daisy right there, man. If I was Jim, to finish you, just be friends and like let bygones be bygones. Like you didn't get to go that you wanted, and there's like 3 to 4 billion others. But Carrie was actually pretty good. So I mean, I don't know, fam. got to the director for that one.
Old world, they would have received this by getting married young and living it out in real life. However, in the 1900s, and especially at the turn of the century, as you're a viewer of my channel, you should know this very well, this became a pipe dream because the sexual revolution was busy telling women to pursue careers, be promiscuous, and use contraception, and that they would fundamentally find their meaning in this.
Well, that's what's being said, that we're living in a day of the sex revolution.
However, while they were being intellectually convinced of this postmodernist worldview, their biology and intrinsic desire for romance didn't go away. And this, we come to learn, was by design, in order to isolate pleasure from purpose and to replace the family with a state agenda. And I'll get to that in a bit, but in order to keep women's desires for families placated, corporate media and its moral breakdown provided a perfect opportunity to sell romance. A different kind of romance. Because this surge did
not the godly romance, not the romance talking about in the Bible. Worldly romance. The difference between romance for in the Lord aspect of it, because you can look at Songs of Solomon. You look at Songs of Solomon. That's love under God. That's love under God. And the worldly romance is this that you're seeing right now. It's a difference. Godly romance, a relationship, a love under God, and worldly romance, which is craziness.
Happen in a vacuum. It's fueled by a cultural poison. Media and romance genres programming women to romanticize criminal deviances, blurring lines between fantasy and felony. For most of Christian human history, the love stories we looked up to were about ordered and meaningful relationships involving marriage, monogamy, and society upheld a very strict standard for what could even be published. However, over the course of centuries, the post-Enlightenment West began to lose any sight of morality, and ideas, even bad ones, flowed way more freely than they ever have. Today we're talking about a $50 billion romance industry where, quote, forbidden teacher-student tropes dominate, turning abuse.
And also to add what you're saying on Lungs of Faith, the books, the romance books with the women, with like the romance books with the women and monsters, basically. One with the centaur. I forgot what it was called, but it was like monster. It was like romances with monsters, like a woman with a dragon, a woman with a vampire, a woman with the a centaur. Like, dude, whoa, y'all ladies are reading craziness
Into passions.
Like, no wonder why y'all have high expectations, saying you want this stuff. And I'm like, yo, it's not humanly possible, lady. That's not humanly possible.
Studies show that 70% of female readers indulge in these deviant pornographic novels, normalizing power imbalances that spill into real life. So let's look at some of these popular novels and what they're normalizing. But first, a brief word from our sponsor. The truth is,
shout out to the sponsor again. Shout out to the sponsor.
We can't do it while we're group.co. Link is in the description. Back to the plot. Bestsellers like Colleen Hoover's Slammed, which highlight teacher-student love, or Harlequin's Forbidden lines push deviant fantasies, and women consume 90% of all romance books, with surveys revealing that 40% fantasize teacher roles. These books then bled into film and movies, which certified this new dogmatic.
Groomed to be groomed? What kind of freaking sick title is that? Groomed to be groomed? Are we serious right now? Oh.
Reality, that transcending boundaries is freedom, and that scandal is truth. Movies and TV simply ran with it and amplified this with pieces like Pretty Little Liars, which normalized Arya and Ezra's teacher affairs as soulmates. This was watched by millions of young women growing up.
That's
then you
not
have
good.
Riverdale and Elite, which romanticized criminal teacher-student bonds. And viewers internalize these traumatic and disordered relationships as thrill. That's exactly why we're seeing more and more of these cases where the female teachers don't just cross the line. They build an entire romantic fantasy in their heads and treat these underage boys like full-grown soulmates. Look at Christina Formella. Prosecutors found a torrid memoir in the Notes app on her phone. She didn't write like a predator. She wrote like a heartbroken girlfriend in a Colleen Hoover novel. She blamed the 16-year-old boy for, quote, ruining her marriage, screaming in all caps, quote, "You ruined us. I warned you we should have never started dating, and every single effing time you came back and convinced me it would be fine. You gaslit me." Then she raged, "I'm effing mad I let a 16-year-old F with me like that. You lost the girl who would have stuck with you through thick and thin. And in a section
Shawty, please. Alright, Shawty, please. Stop.
literally titled, quote, Manifestations, she wrote her delusional happy ending. Quote, we will be in each other's lives forever. We will be able to love each other while also living our own lives. This isn't just a crime scene. This is a woman who probably consumed years of forbidden romance media and turned a 15-year-old student into the tortured hero of her own personal love story. But how did any of this even become legal? How did we go from a moral society that did everything in its power to suppress such deviant material to one where it's actively being pushed in our own education system? The push traces directly to Alfred Kinsey, a zoologist turned sex researcher, and his devious Institute for Sex Research, which was bankrolled by the Rockefeller Foundation, with initial grants in 1941 escalating to $40,000 annually by 1947, which is $600,000 in today's currency. Now this is where it gets dark, because Kinsey's reports portrayed attraction to minors and child orgasms using data sourced from predator cases in Table 34 of his report, labeling them as natural variations on a sexual spectrum and not as criminal or disordered.
Many of Kinsey's findings and techniques remain controversial, including his occasional reliance on the accounts of admitted child abusers. Still, he's widely hailed as a trailblazer in a previously taboo field.
Disgusting evil. Evil. Evil, 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 evil. This is legit evil. This is really evil.
This laid groundwork for all of the normalization we see today. This Rockefeller-funded model influenced sexology, the psychus curricula, and the global standards still used currently in today's teacher training. Now it starts to make a little more sense, doesn't it? Kinsey's male and female reports ignited the latter parts of the sexual revolution. Hugh Hefner, explicitly inspired by them, launched Playboy in December of '53, calling himself Kinsey's pamphleteer, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings in the 1960s struck down any sort of bans on erotic novels and films, unleashing the quote-unquote golden age of porn. Before this, any sort of depictions of erotic material, even slightly, was criminally punishable by jail time. Now at this time, pornographic romance novels boomed, with 1972's The Flame and the Flower and 1974's Sweet Savage Love, graphic, rape-heavy bestsellers that sold millions and spawned the Harlequin empire. The intellectual groundwork and the justification for all this came from Freud's libido theory, Wilhelm Reich's sexual liberation politics, and Kinsey himself. Now all this starts looking less accidental once we understand where this all stemmed from, and that's why it's so important to go back to the sources, which is what we do on this channel, so don't forget to subscribe. So the real question becomes, why did we ever abandon the wisdom of the ancients? Why did everything change in the 1960s? Because this is the truth bomb that nobody wants to admit, because it's simply offensive to modern ears and goes against every single thing we as modern people know.
Ancient opinions on female teachers. Prepare to be offended. Oh my gosh. Oh
the
my
ancients
gosh.
were always extremely suspicious of women being in positions of influence, such as that of teachers, and mixed gender education in general. The reality is that historically, women have often taught their own children, but never in the formalized, public, unsupervised settings that we see today, where females make up 76% of US K-12 educators, wielding authority over mixed groups of kids. From the sources we have available, in ancient times, education was always customized and gender-specific, as humans have always understood that the genders function differently from one another. This was never seen as misogyny or woman hatred. Formal education was typically male only, and young women were taught domestic functions and virtues by their mothers. The Christian church fathers were crystal clear on this. They cautioned against women in positions of authority over children, viewing uncontrolled female influences as dangerous to moral order and family structure. But why? Were they all just being misogynistic and mean for thousands of years? St. John Chrysostom warned that women's emotional nature could lead to improper bonds, urging them to focus on homemaking. He says very bluntly in his homily on 1 Timothy, "Shall not women then be saved? Yes, by means of children. The whole female race shall be saved by childbearing. God has granted you another opportunity of salvation by the bringing up of children, so that you are saved, not only by yourselves but by others." If
I'm gonna let this pause on it, and you just have to read for yourselves. So pause a little bit. So
they continue in the faith and charity and holiness with sobriety. Earlier in the same homily, he says,
and that's
quote, "Continue in the faith and
1
charity
Timothy
and
chapter
holiness
2,
with sobriety."
11 through 15.
Earlier in the same homily, he says, quote, "The woman taught once and ruined all. On this account, therefore, he says, let her not teach. He is speaking of the sex collectively. The sex is weak and fickle. Augustine echoed this too, interpreting 1 Timothy 2:12 as barring women from authority to avoid temptation and disorder. This idea held for millennia until the 19th century upended everything, and frankly I think that everyone can admit that that's when everything started becoming a disaster. More men and women are both beginning to rethink the role of men and women in society and questioning the 20th century egalitarian narratives. People are beginning to ask, was the old world really that misogynistic? Or was it just sober in acknowledging the differences but complementarity between men and women? Critics might call these claims absolutist, and that's fair. Historical trends are often correlative, but it snaps into focus when we examine the engineers behind the shift and their true motivations. Socialists, often intertwined with feminist movements, advocated for women as teachers to advance progressive agendas like labor rights, social justice, and challenging patriarchal norms, seeing women educators as key to instilling egalitarian values in the youth. Clara Zetkin, a German socialist feminist who lived in the 1800s, in her 1896 speech, quote, "Only in conjunction with a proletarian woman," Zetkin argued that women teachers could spread the socialist ideals the best. Quote, "The proletarian woman fights hand in hand with the man of her class against capitalist society. The education and intellectual development of women has now become necessary for the economic machine itself," unquote. She saw women in education as key to raising revolutionary children, condemning bourgeois norms. Now we take Vladimir Lenin, the Bolshevik leader, where he says, quote, "Give me 4 years to teach the children and the seed I have sown will never be uprooted." Lenin promoted women in education to instill communist values, viewing schools as emotional tools to detach kids from family religion. Post-1917 Russia prioritized female teachers for, quote, "revolutionary upbringing," pushing progressive emotionalism over traditional norms. A 2021 study in Modern American History details how socialist feminists in early 20th century New York City teachers' unions pushed for women's roles in education to promote democracy, maternity leave, and anti-capitalist ideas, viewing schools as sites for societal transformation. Jacobin's 2021 article highlights socialist feminists organizing in the early 1900s to allow pregnant teachers to work, framing it as part of broader progressive fights against gender restrictions, enabling women to influence curricula with, quote, "emotionalistic social reforms." A 2025 Globalization Societies and Education piece notes how teachers' unions, influenced by socialism, rearticulated as feminist movements to push progressive issues like racial justice and social reproduction in education. Now, behind the scenes, the Rockefeller family was funding a lot of this stuff, from 1903's General Education Board standardized schools, centralizing control, and flooding them with female teachers. By 1900, women were 74% of U.S. educators, up from barely any pre-1800s.
In the 20th century,
This shift,
my
fueled by
gosh.
feminism's, quote, "empowerment," dismantled traditional safeguards. Now, where does all of this put us here in 2026? Well, it's no wonder homeschooling has exploded all over the world.
Absolutely,
3
yeah.
million plus US kids are now homeschooled, up 78% post-COVID, with near zero abuse risks in home settings. It's a pace of life where liturgy, practical skill development, and family bonding take priority, retaining the father's role as priest of his household, unchallenged by state authority. But it's not without its own challenges. It's banned outright in Germany and Sweden, restricted in over 10 countries, and in the US, progressive unions fight back, labeling it as unsafe.
Whoa. How is homeschooling your kid unsafe? It's actually, homeschooling is actually, to be fair with you, I might even, when I have kids, I think I might homeschool them. No joke. Because this is insane. Wow. Homeschooling might be the best option. Because now they're saying harmful to kids and adolescents because of the school is fundamentally to guaranteeing a right to learn socialization. No, that's not harmful to kids. No, that's not harmful. Homeschooling is not harmful. You're with your mom and your dad teaching you what ABCs 1, 2, 3 and multiplication, addition, subtraction, division, and grammar and punctuations. How is that harming? How is that harming? Nah, friend. I think homeschooling might be the option, man. Homeschooling might be the way. No joke. Homeschooling has to be the way to have your kids be freaking stand-up citizens of society and keep the faith.
Protect their grip on society and the household. Yet, Christian families lead the charge. Homeschoolers score 15 to 30% higher academically with stronger morals baked in. Ultimately, the world relies on families like this that refuse to negotiate with terrorists that will hold down the fort. Don't forget to share this video with someone who needs to see it, and until next time, this is Lungs of Faith, and as always, don't negotiate with terrorists.
Yep, don't do that. Yo, shout out to Lungs of Faith, man. This was a very informative video. My goodness, I think I've knew before, but he dug in deep in this. And shout out to you, man. Shout out to you, bro. You get a sub, bro. Ojo, you get a sub, dog. Yeah, I'm subscribed to your channel now. I need more of this, man. But it's like, yo, it's insane, man. It's always have to do something with the 20th century that just ruined everything. Everything from the jump, from the start, up, going up, and then 20th century hit, everything starts crashing down. It's always the 20th century that just ruins everything. Well, like the 19th to the earliest 20th century, that gap of the year, no, not gap of the year, but that like era right there ruins everything. It just dropped everything. It's insane. It really is insane, man. Again, shoutouts to Lungs of Faith for the video, man. The original video in the description down below. Follow me on all socials. All being that is Jeremiah. God bless you all. Jesus loves you all. Repent and be saved. I'm out of here. Peace.